Beloved, there is a divine law of abundance, and when you align your words with the Word of God, you set that law into motion. The tongue has the power of life and death. When you speak lack, you multiply lack. When you speak faith, you multiply blessings. The scripture is a living vibration, a spiritual decree, and when you utter it with conviction, heaven and earth rearrange themselves to bring forth your good. The verse I share with you today is a key, a door opener, a command of prosperity. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Speak it aloud, not as a mere sentence, but as a decree, a spiritual authority. When you affirm, I shall not want, you are erasing poverty from your consciousness. You are declaring that all that belongs to you by divine right is already moving toward you. The invisible supply surrounds you right now, waiting for your recognition. Your finances respond not to fear, not to worry, but to faith. Say it. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Each time you declare it, you plant a seed in the soil of spirit, and that seed will break forth as unexpected income, open doors, paid debts, and overflowing blessings. Never speak of shortage, never rehearse your worries, for every word you release takes root in the unseen. Instead, clothe your words with power. Let this verse be your garment of abundance. As you walk, as you work, as you rise each morning, decree it, I shall not want. Soon, the vibration of lack will leave your atmosphere, and the vibration of plenty will surround you like a golden field. Do not wonder how it will come. The how belongs to God. Your part is to decree and believe. Your finances are but an outpicturing of your inner word. If you sow, I shall not want, you will reap, my cup runneth over. The supply will multiply, the channels will open, and your life will reflect the eternal promise that you are never forsaken, never forgotten, but always guided, always prospered, always cared for. So take this holy verse as your daily command. Speak it with joy, with certainty, with praise. Speak it when bills arrive, speak it when opportunities seem far. Speak it until the truth takes hold in your heart. For when the word becomes flesh in your consciousness, the outer world must obey. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. This is not only a verse, it is a law, a key, a decree. Speak it and watch as your finances multiply, as your life blossoms with divine provision, as the unseen riches of heaven pour into your visible world. The power of words is one of the greatest mysteries of life, and one of the most overlooked truths. Words are not just sounds that fall from the lips and vanish into the air. They are creative forces that set in motion unseen laws and spiritual energies. Every word spoken is a seed, planted in the fertile soil of the subconscious, and from that soil springs forth a harvest that matches the seed in kind. When a person speaks words of lack, words of fear, words of limitation, they are unconsciously planting weeds that will grow into shortage, obstacles, and delays. But when a person dares to speak words of faith, words of abundance, words of victory, then the harvest must be plentiful, prosperous, and overflowing with good. It is written that life and death are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it shall eat the fruit thereof. This means that the fruit you eat tomorrow is determined by the words you speak today. The invisible responds to your decree. The universe bends itself to fulfill your spoken word. Angels hasten to carry out the commands of a voice aligned with truth, while negative words call forth shadows and setbacks. When you say, I cannot afford this, you have just built a wall around your prosperity. When you say, money never comes to me, you have shut the very gates of abundance. Yet when you say, I am supplied by divine source, my needs are met before I even ask, you open the floodgates of wealth and opportunity. Your words are not idle, they are blueprints. They are sketches that the unseen realm follows with perfect accuracy. If you sketch poverty with your speech, poverty must appear. If you sketch abundance with your decree, abundance must materialize. Just as an architect's plan directs the builder, so your word directs the creative power of spirit. This is why you must guard your tongue as one guards treasure. Many people live in struggle not because they lack talent, intelligence, or effort, but because their words betray their faith. They pray for prosperity, but continually speak of how bad things are, how difficult money is, how nothing seems to work. Their mouths cancel their prayers. The prayer may rise as faith, but the complaint follows as doubt, and doubt chokes the seed before it can grow. You cannot mix the language of lack with the language of abundance and expect to reap a bountiful harvest. A double tongue produces a double mind, and a double mind produces no results. Therefore, it is vital to bring the tongue into harmony with the truth of God's supply. Consider the law of resonance. Every word carries a vibration, and that vibration attracts its like. Speak words of fear, and fear multiplies. Speak words of abundance, and abundance is magnetized to you. Words are not powerless whispers. They are energetic forces that circle back to the one who spoke them. When you say, "I am blessed," you send out a current that seeks a blessing to return to you. When you say, "Nothing ever works out for me," you send out a current that hunts for failure to deliver back to your door. In this way, people are constantly calling into their lives conditions they do not desire, all because of their careless use of words. To change life, you must change your language. To change your finances, you must change your speech. To change your circumstances, you must align your tongue with the abundance of spirit. There is no neutral word. Every syllable is charged with creative energy. Some say, "I am only joking," when they utter words of lack, but the subconscious does not understand humor. It takes every word as truth. Therefore, it is wise to make your humor uplifting, your casual speech positive, your declarations filled with faith. Every word spoken is a command issued to the unseen. Your subconscious, your environment, and even the people you encounter respond to the decree you release. Speak abundance and watch doors open. Speak favor and notice how people extend kindness. Speak wealth and observe how opportunities begin to appear where once there were none. The great law of mind is that what you continually affirm becomes your reality. Affirmation is not wishful thinking. It is conscious creation. When you affirm, you impress upon the subconscious an image that it must reproduce. If you continually affirm shortage, the subconscious faithfully reproduces shortage in your finances, your work, and your opportunities. But if you continually affirm plenty, the subconscious must reproduce conditions of increase, avenues of supply, and open paths of prosperity. The tongue is the rudder of life. Just as a ship's rudder determines its direction, your words determine the course of your destiny. If the tongue is set toward poverty, life drifts into poverty. If the tongue is set toward abundance, life sails into abundance. Your words also align you with spiritual law. The law of divine supply states that there is no lack in God's universe. Lack is a belief, not a reality. The truth is that abundance is infinite, ever present, and ready to flow into the life of anyone who makes room for it. Words of abundance clear the channel, while words of lack block it. Imagine a stream flowing freely, and then imagine throwing stones into that stream until the water can no longer pass through. Negative words are those stones. Every time you say, "I cannot," "I don't have," "It's impossible," you are throwing another stone into your stream. Soon the flow of abundance is dammed. Not because God withheld it, but because you blocked it with your own speech. On the other hand, when you say, "I can," "I have," "all things are possible," you are removing stones from the stream, allowing the waters of supply to flow freely once more. It is important to practice this consciously, for the habit of negative speech is deeply ingrained in many. Begin by observing your words. Notice when you speak lack. Notice when you utter phrases that limit your good. Then replace them with words of life. Instead of saying, "I can't afford it," say, "It is being provided for me." Instead of saying, "I don't know what to do," say, "The answer is revealed to me." Instead of saying, "This will never happen," say, "All things are working together for my good." In this way, you retrain the tongue, and by retraining the tongue, you retrain your life. The moment you choose to guard your speech, you begin to guard your destiny. When you speak abundance, you are not lying, you are aligning. You are not ignoring the outer facts, you are declaring the higher truth. Facts change, but truth remains eternal. The fact may be that your wallet is empty, but the truth is that divine supply is endless. The fact may be that your bills are due, but the truth is that God's riches are already prepared for you. When you speak the truth, the facts must eventually bow to it. Your outer world reshapes itself to match the decree of your inner word. This is the alchemy of speech, the sacred power of the tongue. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. This holy verse is more than poetry, more than comfort, more than tradition. It is a decree, a spiritual law, a command to the unseen forces that shape our lives. When you speak it, you are not reciting words, you are releasing power. The moment this verse leaves your lips in faith, the invisible goes to work, arranging circumstances, opening doors, and drawing supply to you in ways beyond human reason. To declare that the Lord is your shepherd is to place yourself under divine guidance, divine care, and divine provision. To declare that you shall not want is to strip away the consciousness of lack, to uproot the weeds of fear, and to stand firm in the knowledge that your needs are met before you even ask. Many repeat this verse as a comfort during difficulty, but few understand its command. It does not say, I hope not to want. It does not say, perhaps I shall not want. It declares with authority, I shall not want. It is a statement of absolute, unwavering truth. The Lord is my shepherd. Therefore, lack has no place in my life. The Lord is my shepherd. Therefore, provision must follow me. The Lord is my shepherd. Therefore, all things necessary for my good must arrive at the right time and in the right way. This is the divine equation, hidden within the verse shepherd equals supply. Guidance equals abundance, divine care equals overflowing good. When you decree this verse with conviction, you are aligning yourself with the truth of God's abundance. A shepherd's role is to feed, protect, and guide the flock. The sheep never wake in the morning worrying if there will be grass to eat, water to drink, or shelter to rest under. They follow the shepherd, and the shepherd ensures their needs are met. In the same way, when you affirm, the Lord is my shepherd, you are placing yourself in that flow of trust, knowing that every detail of your life is already cared for. Just as the shepherd sees dangers before the sheep see them, God sees your needs before you even voice them. Just as the shepherd leads the flock to green pastures, so Spirit leads you to opportunities, provision, and resources. But this verse does more than comfort, it commands. When you say, I shall not want, you cancel every word of lack you may have previously spoken. You close the door on poverty consciousness and open the door to wealth consciousness. Want is erased by decree. The subconscious takes this statement as law, and once impressed, it begins to create outer conditions to match the inner command. Your finances begin to respond, your work begins to shift, unexpected channels of supply begin to appear. For the law is sure what you continually decree, you eventually demonstrate. So many live their lives under the shadow of, I want. They say, I want more money, I want more opportunities, I want success. But the more they want, the more they affirm lack. Wanting implies not having. Wanting sends the message to the subconscious that you are empty, and the subconscious faithfully reproduces more emptiness. But when you replace, I want, with, I shall not want, you switch currents. You move from the vibration of emptiness to the vibration of fullness. You are no longer pleading with life. You are commanding life. You are declaring that every apparent void is already filled. You are affirming that the shepherd has already gone before you, preparing abundance in advance. To speak this verse is to place yourself on the side of supply rather than demand. Instead of seeing life as something you must chase, you recognize life as something that comes to you by divine right. The Lord is your shepherd, therefore, opportunities must find you. The Lord is your shepherd, therefore, money must flow to you. The Lord is your shepherd, therefore ideas, guidance, and inspiration must come at the right time. You are not a beggar in God's kingdom. You are an heir. And this verse is your inheritance spoken into words. Every time you affirm, I shall not want, you plant a seed of plenty in your consciousness. That seed grows, expands, and eventually blossoms into visible results. Speak it when you feel fear over bills. Speak it when you wonder how a need will be met. Speak it when you are tempted to dwell on what you do not have. Each repetition strengthens the pattern. Each declaration reinforces the truth. Each word builds a wall of faith around your finances. Soon, lack loses its grip, and abundance begins to manifest naturally. This verse is not meant to be recited mechanically, but to be declared with authority. It is your decree, your affirmation, your spiritual command. As you speak it, let each word carry weight. Let the Lord remind you of infinite power. Let is remind you of the present reality, not a distant promise. Let my shepherd remind you that this power is personal, intimate, and always guiding. Let I shall not want remind you that lack has no foothold in your life. When you speak it in this way, you speak it as law, and law cannot fail. Life reshapes itself according to your decrees. Finances, opportunities, and resources are like sheep. They follow the voice of the shepherd. When you decree, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," you are sounding the call that gathers your good to you. Money hears it. Opportunities hear it. Favor hears it. They cannot resist the authority of divine decree spoken in faith. They must come. They must align. They must multiply. This verse is both shield and sword. As a shield, it protects you from fear, worry, and anxiety, for you know that the shepherd is always guiding. As a sword, it cuts away the illusions of lack, doubt, and limitation, for you affirm boldly that want has no place in your life. It is both comfort and command, both promise and decree. When spoken daily, it becomes the rhythm of your consciousness, and that rhythm calls forth abundance in every form. Your finances are not responding to the amount of effort you put in, nor are they responding to the countless hours of worry or the strain of fear. They respond to the vibration you carry and the words you release into the atmosphere. Faith-filled words are seeds of abundance, while fear-filled thoughts are seeds of lack. The law of life is precise and unbending. You reap what you sow. Sow words of lack and you will reap shortage. Sow words of doubt and you will reap delay. Sow words of faith, of certainty, of prosperity, and you will reap multiplication, overflow, and open doors. Your outer conditions are mirrors of your inner speech. The world you see is nothing more than the harvest of the words you have planted over time. When you worry about money, you are actually rehearsing lack. Each thought of fear is a rehearsal of what you do not want. Each inner conversation about shortage is a blueprint for more shortage. Fear is faith in reverse. It is belief in the power of evil, rather than the power of God. It is confidence that things will go wrong instead of trust that things are already made right. And when fear is allowed to take root, it does not stay hidden. It begins to manifest through unpaid bills, lost opportunities, and financial stagnation. But when faith is planted and spoken aloud, it also takes root and multiplies. Faith declares, "My supply is secure." Faith says, "Doors are opening." Faith affirms, "Money comes to me in perfect ways." And faith draws these conditions into visibility, because the subconscious and the spiritual law respond to the vibration of faith as faithfully as they respond to the vibration of fear. Fear is loud, demanding, and urgent. Faith is calm, certain, and powerful. The fearful person looks at the empty wallet and says, "I cannot pay this, I am broke, nothing is working." The faithful person looks at the same wallet and says, "God is my supply, my cup runs over. Provision is here." The fearful person plants seeds of despair, and the faithful person plants seeds of abundance. Both will reap exactly what they have spoken. Life does not play favorites, it mirrors what is impressed upon it. Your finances, therefore, are not random, they are reflections of the words you believe and repeat with conviction. When you begin to speak faith-filled words, you are not denying outer facts, you are affirming inner truth. The fact may be that your account is low, but the truth is that infinite supply surrounds you. The fact may be that a bill is due, but the truth is that God's provision never fails. When you align with truth, facts must bend and shift to obey it. The outer world eventually reflects the decree of the inner world. This is why Scripture declares that the just shall live by faith, not by sight. What you see may discourage, but what you say has the power to transform what you see. Every financial breakthrough begins with a word. Words unlock doors, words move mountains, words dissolve obstacles. The reason is simple: words carry vibration, and vibration attracts. Speak the vibration of shortage, and shortage is magnetized. Speak the vibration of abundance, and abundance is magnetized. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you continually affirm. Faith-filled words are not timid wishes, they are spiritual commands. They are the voice of authority declaring that heaven's riches must become visible on earth. When you decree abundance, when you affirm supply, when you speak prosperity with conviction, you are setting in motion laws that cannot fail. Your words are containers. They either carry power or they carry weakness. They either carry faith or they carry fear. Every conversation you have about money is either calling more of it into your life or pushing it away. This is why you must become mindful of every word spoken, not only in prayer but in casual speech. Saying, "I'm always broke," is not harmless. It is a decree. Saying, "Money is so hard to get," is not a complaint. It is a command to the universe to make money harder to get. Saying, "There's never enough," is not venting. It is a seed of limitation. The law does not distinguish between serious speech and casual speech. It fulfills whatever is spoken with conviction and repetition. Faith-filled words, on the other hand, transform not only finances but the very atmosphere around you. When you affirm, "I am divinely provided for," you shift your vibration from worry to peace. When you say, "Wealth flows to me in perfect ways," you shift from scarcity to expectation. When you decree, "God's abundance is mine now," you open the channel for unseen supply to move into visible form. These words impress the subconscious, and the subconscious then attracts conditions to match them. The more you affirm, the stronger the impression becomes. The stronger the impression, the faster the manifestation. Consider how a farmer plants seeds. If he sows corn, he will not reap wheat. If he sows wheat, he will not reap barley. He reaps exactly what he plants, and the harvest is multiplied far beyond the handful of seeds he put in the ground. So it is with your words. If you sow fear, you cannot reap faith. If you sow lack, you cannot reap abundance. But if you sow faith-filled words of prosperity, your harvest will be multiplied finances, multiplied opportunities, multiplied blessings. What begins as a single affirmation can return as a 100-fold increase in your outer world. Some believe that their financial condition is shaped by their job, the economy, or chance, but in truth, it is shaped by their words. Two people can work the same job, live in the same city, and face the same challenges, yet one thrives while the other struggles. The difference is not external. It is internal. One speaks faith and draws prosperity. The other speaks fear and draws lack. The same law operates for both, but the results differ according to the seed planted. This truth reveals the great responsibility and the great privilege of speech. At any moment, you can choose to plant words of faith and begin reshaping your financial destiny. Your finances respond to the authority of your word because spirit responds to faith. Faith is the language heaven recognizes. Fear speaks loudly but carries no power in divine law. Faith speaks with quiet certainty and moves mountains. Fear cries out, "I am lost." Faith declares, "The Lord is my shepherd." Fear trembles at the sight of bills. Faith says, "My cup runneth over." Fear binds. Faith frees. The moment you shift your speech from fear-filled to faith-filled, you shift your finances from stagnation to multiplication. Supply does not multiply by human striving alone, nor does it appear through the constant worry of how it will come. Multiplication of wealth and opportunity is a divine process, and it is released when you let go of the struggle to figure out the how, and rest in the certainty of God's promise. The mind that is constantly asking, "How will this happen? How will the money come? How will I survive?" is a mind that is blocking the very flow it longs for. The how belongs not to man but to God. The shepherd knows the path. The sheep simply follow. When you try to plan every detail, when you demand to see the full picture before stepping forward, you are attempting to play the role of shepherd instead of resting as the sheep. Yet the verse declares that the Lord is your shepherd, which means the guidance, the provision, the direction, the timing, and the methods are already cared for. Your part is to believe, to speak, to stand in faith, and to release the invisible power of the spoken word. When you affirm abundance, you are not required to know the details of how it will appear. You need not know which channel, which opportunity, or which person will carry the blessing. The supply may come through your work, through an unexpected gift, through a divine idea, through a door you could never have planned for. But the channel is not your concern. If you fix your eyes on one possible channel, you limit the unlimited. If you declare, "It must come from this person, this job, this source," you are attempting to control the flow. Divine supply is never bound to one source, it is infinite. And it has countless ways of reaching you. The moment you declare the truth and release the how, you free the supply to arrive in ways that surpass your imagination. Consider the way nature operates. A farmer plants a seed in the ground, and then he does not dig up the soil every day to see how it will sprout. He does not demand to know the exact hour the roots will break through, or the exact pattern of rain that will water it. He trusts the law of growth. He trusts that once the seed is planted, the unseen forces of nature will take over. He rests in the process. In the same way, when you declare, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," you have planted a seed. The invisible power of God is at work, causing roots to form and supply to appear. Your part is to water the seed with faith, to protect it with consistent words of abundance, and to trust the process without anxiety. The obsession with how is the greatest enemy of multiplication. It keeps the mind trapped in the realm of limitation, for the human mind can only calculate possibilities based on past experience. If you insist on knowing the how, you are reducing the infinite to the finite. You are closing the door on miracles. Divine supply moves in ways the human mind cannot predict. A new client calls, a forgotten debt is repaid, an idea comes in the night, a door opens unexpectedly. None of these can be calculated in advance, but all of them are possible when you release the how and trust the law. To affirm abundance while worrying about the how is to plant a seed while simultaneously uprooting it. To affirm abundance while resting in God's promise is to plant a seed and let the sun, the rain, and the soil perform their work until the harvest appears. The truth is that abundance belongs to you by divine right. It is not something you must beg for or struggle to create by your own effort. It is already prepared, already flowing, already available in the unseen. When you speak the word of abundance, you are simply aligning yourself with what has always been yours. You are not commanding God to create something new, you are commanding yourself to awaken to what already exists. The storehouse of heaven is full, the rivers of supply are overflowing, and your declaration is the key that unlocks them. The only barrier is doubt, and doubt is born from the obsession with the how. Faith says, "It is done." Fear says, "But how?" Faith rests in the promise. Fear wrestles with the details. Faith multiplies. Fear delays. Your supply is like a river, and your words are the channel. When you say, "I am divinely provided for," you carve a wide, clear channel for the river to flow into your life. When you say, "I don't know how this will work," you throw stones into that channel and block the current. The river is still flowing, but your channel is obstructed. Remove the stones by releasing the how. Open the path by declaring the truth. The river will find its way, and it will always find the easiest course when you stop interfering. Abundance multiplies because God is abundance. The divine nature is ever giving, ever expanding, ever supplying. There is no withhold, no hesitation, no resistance in spirit. When you stand in faith and speak the word, you are placing yourself under the law of divine increase. Multiplication is the natural result. The loaves and fishes multiplied not because anyone calculated how it could be done, but because faith released the power of heaven. The widow's oil filled every vessel, not because she knew the formula, but because she obeyed the instruction and trusted the process. At no point was she told the mechanics of how the oil would continue to pour. She simply believed and acted, and the supply multiplied until every vessel was full. This is the pattern: declare, believe, release the how, and watch the multiplication. Speak the verse daily. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Speak it when the mind demands to know how the rent will be paid. Speak it when the thought arises of how the debt will be cleared. Speak it when logic insists that the numbers do not add up. The numbers do not matter, the law does. The accounts do not dictate the outcome, the decree does. The economy does not control your life, the promise does. When you keep your eyes on God as your shepherd, the details fall into place. The ways and means, the timing and method, the who and the how. These are all arranged by a wisdom higher than your own. Your task is to keep your speech aligned with truth and your faith anchored in the promise. When you begin to practice this, you will notice small signs first. Unexpected discounts, small sums appearing, opportunities you did not anticipate. If you dismiss these, you cut off the flow. But if you recognize them as evidence of divine multiplication, you strengthen the current. Gratitude fuels the process and faith enlarges the channel. Soon, the small signs grow into larger manifestations, and the trickle becomes a river. This is the law of supply in action. What you release through your word returns multiplied. What you plant with faith, filled speech grows into a harvest of abundance. The how is never your concern. The when and the where are not your burden. The law is always the same: decree it, believe it, release it, and receive it. When you speak the same verse again and again, when you let it become the rhythm of your mind and the pattern of your heart, you begin to shift the very vibration you live in. And that vibration draws abundance to you as surely as a magnet draws iron. Repetition is not empty habit when it is done in faith. It is the steady chiseling away of old beliefs of lack and limitation. And it is the building of new foundations where prosperity can stand firm. Consistency is the golden key. A verse spoken once in hope may stir your spirit, but a verse spoken daily with conviction engraves itself into the subconscious, and the subconscious becomes the fertile soil from which your outer life is formed. Every time you declare, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," you are planting a seed. And every repetition waters that seed until it becomes a tree heavy with fruit. At first, you may not notice much change, for the old vibration of lack may still echo in your atmosphere. But persistence breaks down the old and strengthens the new. Just as a drop of water wears away stone through constant falling, so your steady affirmation wears away fear, doubt, and poverty, consciousness. The mind has been trained for years to expect shortage, to dwell on bills, to anticipate struggle. One verse cannot erase years of negative belief overnight, but the constant speaking of truth is stronger than any lie the mind has believed. Each declaration weakens the grip of fear until it crumbles. Each affirmation replaces doubt with certainty. Each spoken word shifts the vibration a little more, until the entire atmosphere of your life is filled with the frequency of abundance. The power of vibration is invisible, but its results are visible. You cannot see sound waves, but you can see the glass that shatters under their force. You cannot see radio frequencies, but you can hear the music they carry. In the same way, you may not see the vibration of your words, but you will see the results in your finances, your opportunities, and your relationships. A consistent vibration of abundance calls to itself more abundance. Like attracts like. The verse is not simply a comfort. It is a tuning fork that adjusts the frequency of your life. When you speak it with consistency, you tune yourself to prosperity, and prosperity must answer. The atmosphere around a person reveals what they continually think and speak. Some carry an atmosphere of worry, and you can feel it when they enter a room. Others carry an atmosphere of peace, and you feel uplifted in their presence. What creates this atmosphere is not chance. It is the vibration of their dominant words and thoughts. When you continually declare, "I shall not want," you clothe yourself in the vibration of sufficiency. People begin to respond differently to you. Doors begin to open. Opportunities begin to flow, because your atmosphere now speaks of abundance before you even open your mouth. The verse has become your shield and your magnet. Consistency also builds authority. Words spoken without consistency are like arrows shot without aim. They may fly, but they rarely hit their mark. But words spoken consistently, with repetition and faith, become targeted, focused, and unstoppable. Authority is built through practice. Just as a musician gains mastery not by playing once but by daily practice, you gain mastery over your finances not by declaring truth once but by declaring it every day, until it becomes the only language you speak. Authority comes when the verse is no longer something you hope for but something you embody. When you declare, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," with authority, the subconscious does not question it, the universe does not resist it, and the law of supply must obey it. This is why it is not enough to speak the verse occasionally, or only when in trouble. If you speak it only in moments of fear, you are mixing it with the vibration of panic, and the results are delayed. But if you speak it daily, in calmness, in gratitude, in trust, you are creating a steady frequency that grows stronger each day. The verse becomes a part of your being, and soon you no longer speak it to convince yourself. You speak it because you know it. It becomes truth engraved upon your heart, and truth once established must express itself in the outer world. As your vibration shifts, you will notice your language changing in every area of life. You will stop saying, "I can't afford it," and instead say, "It is provided for me." You will stop saying, "Money is scarce," and instead say, "Money flows freely to me." You will stop saying, "I hope things work out," and instead say, "Things are working together for my good." These changes may seem small, but they are the evidence of a shifted vibration. The old consciousness of lack begins to fall away, and a new consciousness of plenty takes its place. And as consciousness changes, so do conditions. The verse also rewires the emotions when spoken consistently. At first, the mind may resist, the heart may doubt, the feelings may still tremble at the sight of bills. But the more you speak, the more your emotions align. Fear loses its grip, anxiety fades, peace takes its place. Eventually, the very mention of the verse stirs up a feeling of calm assurance. It becomes not just words on your lips but a vibration in your chest, a certainty in your spirit. And when your emotions align with your words, the power is multiplied. The spoken word plus the feeling of faith is an irresistible force. It is also important to understand that the verse does not merely attract money, it attracts all that belongs to abundance. Opportunities, ideas, relationships, favor, health, and peace. Finances are one expression of abundance, but true prosperity is the fullness of life in every area. When you declare, "I shall not want," you are covering more than bills or bank accounts. You are declaring that no good thing will be withheld from you, that everything necessary for your joy, your purpose, and your growth is already supplied. This wider vibration ensures that you are not chasing after money alone, but allowing abundance to flow in all its forms. Money may come, yes, but so will divine ideas that open new streams of income. Opportunities may arrive, but so will favor with people who can elevate you. The vibration of the verse expands your entire life, not just your finances. As you continue the practice, you will reach a point where the verse no longer feels like repetition but like breath. It flows naturally. It becomes your inner dialogue. When a need arises, you do not panic. You automatically think, "I shall not want." When a bill arrives, you do not tremble. You declare, "I shall not want." When opportunities seem distant, you do not despair. You affirm, "I shall not want." The verse becomes your automatic response. And when this happens, you know the shift is complete. Lack consciousness has been replaced with abundance consciousness, and the vibration you carry will continue to draw abundance to you, as long as you maintain it. The world is filled with noise, with messages of fear, with voices declaring lack and limitation. Consistency in speaking the verse shields you from this noise. It keeps you aligned with truth even when the outer world shouts otherwise. Every day you declare it. You are choosing truth over appearances, abundance over lack, faith over fear. Over time, the outer world must conform to the inner decree, for law cannot fail. The vibration of abundance maintained consistently is stronger than any temporary fact of shortage. Facts change, but truth endures.